Her beauty and her terror. In Wombarra on the New South Wales Central Coast, parts of this wide brown land are crumbling into the ocean.
If something's not done, the whole suburb's at risk.
Chris Rogers Street has been evacuated repeatedly, most recently in July. In 2020, a monster storm left Wombarra homes teetering.
The end result was the whole beach being stripped of every speck of sand. There wasn't a piece of sand on the beach.
He's already lost 2 metres of his land to the beach. His neighbours lost more.
You've got the boundary, which is a good 5, 6, 7 metres where the stake is. That's his land, and that's disappeared over the last 3 months.
Chris is terrified of what the next storm might do. His house is now ineligible for insurance against acts of the sea.
There was a period where there was actually a policy offered, but the price was a major barrier. Tell me, what did it cost?
So it was tens of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands. And if you could find an insurance company to do it. So now you can't find anyone to insure your home. That's the simple fact of it. So we are completely uninsured and completely exposed. So we're sitting ducks.
The federal government released its first ever climate risk assessment in September. It projected that by 2050, 1.5 million Australians will live in areas deemed a high risk of coastal flooding. It also found our big cities will be exposed to rising sea levels, with places like Double Bay here in Sydney becoming vulnerable.
Australia is facing an insurance crisis driven by climate change. Insurance premiums have risen by up to 400% in disaster-prone areas.
According to figures from the Insurance Council, most homes that face a severe to extreme flood risk don't have flood cover, with premiums in those areas exceeding $7,000, even reaching $30,000 in some cases. The Insurance Council says prices won't drop anytime soon as the cost of climate change increases.
So what we're seeing is a cumulative increase every decade on the cost of insured losses driven by extreme weather events.
A massive bushfire is burning out of control northeast of Perth.
Gillian Catlow and Charles Herneman lost everything to a fire in the Perth Hills.
Oh, there he is.
Everything except this.
Sat above my mother's piano for many, many years. Belonged to my grandfather.
Her mother's prized Steinway did not fare as well, largely reduced to ash. The couple had moved to the hills in 2020 for a quieter life. A few months later, they left with little more than their lives.
When somebody tells you your house is gone, you still don't think that everything is gone, but that was the case.
The musicians reluctantly relocated to the city. Their home was insured, but their contents were drastically underinsured.
This is something you only ever find out when you lose every single thing in your house. Only then do you know what your contents are really worth.
Associate Professor Rosalind Prinsley is a member of the Institute for Climate, Energy and Disaster Solutions at Australian National University. She says the issue goes beyond insurance, and without a surge in government investment, thousands of Australians are left exposed to unnecessary risk.
Now, do you know that we spend in Australia 400 times more on defence innovation than we do on disaster innovation? That is just unbelievable.
It's also a matter of planning.
We need to stop building in floodplains. We're still building in floodplains, and one of the reasons for that is that we're looking for more and more affordable housing for more and more people that don't have housing.
It's a call backed by the insurance peak body. It wants the federal and state governments to stump up $30 billion over 10 years to build flood levees and dams, reinforce homes and relocate people living in extreme risk areas.
It really addresses this issue of putting investment in prevention rather than spending all the money on the cleanup.
But the Assistant Treasurer Daniel Molino says the federal government is already investing $1 billion over 5 years through the Disaster Ready Fund, and insurers should respond by reducing premiums.
What we want to see is that where government invests in mitigation, that there is a benefit when it comes to premiums and that's passed on to households.
The Australian insurance industry posted a $5 billion profit last financial year. Some people might look at the profitability in the long run of insurers. Surely there is some sort of goodwill that insurers could claw back here.
If you follow the events over the last few years, every time we have a large loss year like 2022, insurers' profitability either slips or goes into loss. And your state-based ones in particular really suffer. When we have a relatively quiet year, insurers are able to recover those profits through premium.
The Assistant Treasurer does concede that preventative action is needed to stop further development in very high-risk areas, but says the government's hands are tied.
This is an area which is a joint responsibility of the federal and state governments, but this is a challenging area and has been for a long time because of those constitutional constraints.
For those in harm's way, it doesn't matter where help comes from, as long as it comes soon.
Every time there's a storm, there's emergency works that cost the community millions, and then the sun comes out and everyone forgets about it, and it's just a rinse and repeat.